How's it going? Strife here, and this is the updated walkthrough for Arah Path 3. So the major thing that changed in the February 26th patch for Arah 3 is the very first boss changed pretty dramatically, I could say, even though they didn't put it in the patch notes. But starting out here, again, you're going to come up to the top of this room, which will path the risen mobs up here, and then you can waypoint back to the start. This will allow you to run to the first door without having to fight them at all. Now you can fight them. Most of them are normal mobs. There's a few silver mobs littered throughout. But if you can't speed kill this first group, you probably do want to clear this room so you can pull this group of 4 up here back to the starting area. The method we don't need to do that because we're actually going to clear them before they even have time to react. So again, you're going to utilize the Mesmer focus pull to group them together. Once we run in, the warriors are going to use their mace knockdown to interrupt before that risen hunter has time to put stability on, and then you can see I use my great sword pull to interrupt as well. Basically by chaining your interrupts, you can kill them before they even have time to attack. And then if you do pull any mobs from the center, just LOS and burn them down really quickly. The amount of mobs that come at you is dependent on how fast you kill that group, which is why if you do kill slower, you may want to possibly clear that room. Now as far as this boss, so the things that changed, the Crusher, he has a new move where it's a AoE heal and resurrection. So if we were to pull this group back up to that top area, he would actually res the 4 risen that we just killed. So you don't want that, obviously, so we fight him down here now. The hunter changed from a legendary to a champion mob, so it has less health, but you don't want to kill her first because, as I said, she'll be rezzed as well by this Crusher. Also has a new attack with this poison field that she just shot. You can use reflections for most of her attacks, which is why I ran up and used that wall, and then you can use the Mesmer feedback as well. But basically you want to time your or save your condition removal in case you get immobilized still by the hunter, so you're not going to get hit by that Crusher if you can't move. Besides that, just burn down the Crusher first, and then we'll finish off the hunter right here pretty quickly. So not too bad overall. It just requires a bit more organization now in timing your skills. So we're going to finish that fight up and pick up the chest. So the next sequence is going to be a running sequence, so get your running skills ready. You want retreat on your guardian for the group. Great sword and a shield is really good for warriors, and then just things like blink or decoy on the Mesmer, and then veil for the group. So you'll see up here we're just going to veil. Stealth in general isn't as good anymore because it doesn't drop aggro, but it does give you some free running room while you are stealth. Nothing's going to attack you unless it targeted you before you stealth. But it's not a huge deal for running. The stealth nerf, it mainly hurts more for actually dropping aggro when you want to maybe try and res someone or drop aggro in a corner or something. So you can see there, not too bad of a trash run. You just need to get through that initial group. Don't be afraid to use your dodges and your invulnerables or any other skills that you have for evading or avoiding damage. And then once you get up to this rock area, you just want to wait for your group so you can run through this next spider sequence as a full group. If you don't do that, then the spiders will come down from the ceiling, and whoever runs in after you is going to have to run through a pack of spiders, which could end up killing them. So it's safer in your group to just wait and then run through this part right here together. And then again, we can still go up on this little rock ledge on the left and leash the spiders. I actually used a line of warding there also to kind of stop them in their tracks as well. So it looks like they're fine over there. We're going to come down and fight this boss. This Mage Crusher is extremely easy. You can actually just full melee him. I don't know, Mage Crusher. But the main attack you want to watch out for, again, you can see the red circles. When the Crusher starts lifting in the air like that, that is when you want to dodge because it's going to explode the red circles. Besides that, it just has this siphon move that you can see. It targets one person. Overall, not too bad though. And then of course you got the annoying risen hands throwing rocks at you. But no damage really, more of an annoyance than anything. So here again, she's lifting, you just want to dodge to avoid those exploding red circles. And then at this point we time warped. We actually didn't even have time warp back up until then because we killed the Crusher pretty quickly and then ran here so fast that the cooldown was still on. So that is the Mage Crusher boss. Next we are going to swim down here. Pretty easy, just don't get hit by the bubbles which create a poison field, which you can do by just swimming along the bottom. And then once you get up here, again, you want to wait for your group. There's going to be a pack of gorillas ahead of us. So we don't end up fighting them, but you do want to group up before you run through. This is another thing that kind of got hurt a bit by Veil, because before you could Veil and drop their aggro completely. Now you're just going to use Veil to get a little bit extra running room. So this first lantern, you want your Guardian to pick it up, or at least that's what we do, because it's pretty easy for him to solo run. So the whole point is, as you can see, you grab a orb from one lantern and bring it to the other lantern. While you're carrying it, you take damage. You can actually throw it to each other as well. Now, no one in my group picked up the lantern here, so I had to stop and try. And then, because we couldn't drop the aggro of the gorillas anymore, you see me getting beat on right now. And no one came back to help me. So I'm going to get downed here, but luckily I can rally off this gorilla and get out of there. So yeah, lesson learned there is have your group make sure they pick up an orb so the Guardian doesn't have to stop, who will probably be the furthest behind. And then luckily no time lost because we utilized the Mesmer portal and I got to it in time. So at this point we're going to be in the room before GL, which is the boss that you fight on all 4 paths of Arah. So as a Guardian, I want to put Reflect on one of my skills for these turrets down here. And then the Mesmer can have feedback as well. But we're just going to run through this initial set, stay along the wall, and try not to aggro. Looks like we aggroed one of them, one of the Risen, which may happen sometimes. If you can, just try and pull the Risen closer to the wall here, so you don't end up aggroing anything else. And then you can just finish them off. Then I'm going to start equipping my Scepter Focus, which is what you want for GL on your Guardian as well. So just burst down these 2 abominations and we will go through the door. So the method we are going to use to kill GL is the speed kill method, which you can see from one of my other videos. We did a 1 minute 24-second speed kill. So that did take a few tries, so it probably won't be that fast, but the method we're going to use is the same method that we used for doing that speed run, which is you're going to rely on the Guardian for the first ability. The 3 warriors are going to go full DPS with Banner, 4 Great Justice, and Frenzy. And then the Mesmer is going to take Signet, the Mantra of Stability for 2 stability pops for the 3rd phase, and then of course Feedback, which is going to speed things up quite a bit. By doing this you can kill him easily under 2 minutes. So I'll walk you through kind of what we did. I'll link a solo video on my warrior. It's a bit old now because you can no longer reckless dodge the orb or the dome in phase 3, but it'll walk you through some of his moves. So here what we're doing is I'm going to Aegis, as you can see, the first kick that he did, so we can keep DPSing. Then when he raises his hand, you want to dodge the grub. That's what spawns the grub, and you can actually evade it when his hand reaches the peak of his head. Then when he screams, he's going to spawn the Locust, but you can see we got through phase 1 very quickly. In phase 2 you want to stack on him if you're doing the melee method. and use Frenzy to burst down the grub. It looks like he ate it there, but you still want to try and burst it down. Then I use my second Aegis to protect from his swipe. In phase 3, we're going to get him out of the wall a bit because he's pretty annoying in phase 3 when he's stuck in the wall there. When he lifts in the air, he makes that big AoE field, so just get out of it or you're going to take damage. This Life Siphon move he does to one party member, so one member is going to need to double dodge. And there we're just using our Time Warp now to burn him down phase 3. That barrage attack, it's really good if you can react quickly enough, because you can see we put up our feedback and our wall of reflection and did quite a bit of damage to him. Unfortunately, we don't have one up for that second barrage, so it's going to kill some people. But at this point, he's so close to the dead that 2 of our warriors did have to vengeance there. It's not too big a deal because we're going to kill him anyway. But that's how we end up killing GL most of the time. We try and do it as fast as possible and don't really take much defense. Alright, so you just want to pick up your loot and then we're going to group up here for the final run to the last event and boss. So I want to equip my staff again on Guardian since it's such a good running weapon. And what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to come to the front of the hallway, which will cause the 3 Risen in the back to start pathing towards me. Similar to what I did at the very opening of this path, when pathing the Risen in that first room, same concept, so we can just run by without aggroing them after. You do want your group to wait for you to get back, because you want to run together. Once we get up through this next tunnel, you'll see a bunch of spiders are going to spawn and drop from the ceiling. So if someone is behind, it makes it harder to run through because they do cripple and poison you. So if you do have low or not very much condition removal, you may get stuck behind and eventually die because of those cripples. So it's usually a good idea to just run through this part together and pass those 2 spider packs. So up here there's a short video, so you do also not want to get stuck behind usually, because it could cause those spiders to catch up to you. Here we're just going to run past a few Risen, not a big deal overall. Once you drop off this ledge here, you're going to lose aggro, so very short. And then don't be afraid to aggro these Risen Giants either, we just run straight through here. The Giants, as you may know, they're pretty slow, and the 2 attacks they have aren't really dangerous to you when you're running by. It's a really slow charge up stomp attack, and then they spawn grubs, neither of which is going to do much to you. So once we get up here at the top, we're at the final event area. If you don't have a staff equipped on your Guardian, you do want that equipped. If you don't have a Guardian, you just want characters with ranged weapons. So what's going to happen is after this video, there's going to be 3 blue circles. You want 3 of your party members, so in our group, the 3 warriors, to stand in the blue circles. You want to stand in the very back of the blue circle because when this Wraith Lord spawns in the different circles, he creates a poison cloud. It's going to hit you unless you're in the very back of the circle. And then soon 6 little wraiths are going to spawn, 2 in each of the rings. You just want to aggro them, so that's where the staff comes in, or your ranged weapon. The warriors that are in the circles, they can move around and try and dodge, but make sure that they don't hit the wraiths. This will keep a clean aggro slate, so that when you run by you can just hit them once and they'll transfer aggro to you. So you can see at this point we have all 6 of them, and it's pretty easy just to run around in a circle and kite them until the ritual progress in the top right is complete. With all 3 of the blue circles, it goes up pretty fast, as you can see. So it's like a 1-minute event, not too bad overall. And then once we finish this ritual progress, these wraiths are going to despawn, as you saw, and we're going to fight the boss. The boss himself, he's pretty easy overall. He only has 2 attacks. The first attack is just an auto attack, but it's going to put conditions, bleeding, and poison, and then a debuff on you. He also has a breath attack, which is going to cause the same conditions. It's pretty easy to just get behind him and not get hit by it. He also actually has, I guess, a third attack. Sometimes he'll put a little pool of green poison, I guess, on the ground. Just try not to step in it. The other mechanic to this boss is, as you can see, I don't have any on me, but in the top right corner, my party members have a little green icon with a debuff on it, with numbers. This is caused by every attack from the Wraith. The more debuff icons, or the higher the number, the more damage you're going to take. It's usually not too bad before like 15, so we usually don't worry about it. But if you do get high on that debuff counter, you'll see that there were little white circles that spawned around the room. If you stand in those, it removes the debuff. So hopefully this guide helped you out, and thanks for watching.